Good evening, and welcome to the Monument Fire Information Community Meeting for Sunday, August 8th. My name is Nathan Judy, Information Officer for California Interagency Incident Management Team 5. This evening, you're going to be hearing from speakers from California Interagency Management Team 5 and the Shasta-Trinity National Forest. We have 45 minutes for our meeting this evening, and then we're going to roll into a briefing for our crews. We will answer questions after the briefing, and if we can get to questions in the chat, we will do so. If we're unable to get to those questions, we will see and answer those questions after the meeting. In attendance to answer questions are Shasta-Trinity Sheriff Tim Saxton, CHP Lieutenant Brandon Leahy, Trinity County Administrator Office Richard Kuntz, Trinity County Office of Emergency Service Ed Priestley. Speaking this evening is going to be Deputy Forest Supervisor for the Shasta-Trinity National Forest, Karen Otto, Operations Section Chief for Team 5, Alec McBath, Incident Meteorologist, Zach Tolby, Fire Behavior Analyst, Jeff Shelton, Air Resource Advisor, Ali Kamal, and Agency Administrator and District Ranger, Tara Jones. And lastly is going to be the Incident Commander for Team 5, Dustin Mueller. The current situation on the fire is we are at 50,487 acres, 3% contained on the fire. Currently we have 9 crews, 48 engines, 11 dozers, and 5 helicopters. To kick us off this evening is going to be Carrie Otto, Deputy Forest Supervisor for the Shasta-Trinity National Forest.
Good evening. Thank you so much for attending. We absolutely appreciate you taking your time out of your day and giving us the opportunity to share the latest updates on the Monument Fire. As much as we'd like to host this meeting in person, out of an abundance of caution and due to current COVID trends, we made the decision to do this meeting virtually. The flip side of that and the positive aspect is hopefully we're able to reach more of our communities affected by this fire. Fire and situations change frequently and rapidly, and this can often lead to information collisions. I hope this forum will provide timely and accurate information for you and your families. We want to ensure everybody fully understands our efforts to safeguard our communities, our firefighters, and our national forests. And I hope you and your families use this information to make informed decisions. So please make sure you ask lots of questions so that you have the information you need. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Alex McBath, Operations Chief for California Team 5. The first thing I'd like to start out with is a thank you to all the cooperating agencies and entities on the Monument Fire. Some of those include your local volunteers, OES, CAL FIRE, local force, Shasta-Trinity, Six Rivers, and all the others that have come out to help save the values here in Trinity County. I'm going to give you an update as of today, about an hour ago, on what we have going on the Monument Fire as far as operations go. So you see the map. You can take a look at the footprint that the Monument Fire has created over the last few days, which is pretty phenomenal. I've been on a lot of fires in Trinity County, and this is the fastest growing fire I've been on in the whole time I've been here over the last 30 years. We've broke this fire currently into 4 branches. There's a branch 1 in the west, branch 5 in the north, branch 10 kind of in the northeast, and a branch 20 in the southeast. And I'll go through the divisions and what each of those divisions are doing in their respective branches. So over here in branch 1, which is pretty much the west side, which is currently the values at risk are power lines, communities such as Burnt Ranch, Fredericks Road. There's other communities further out, Salyer, Hawkins Bar, that are in that corridor there. So Alpha, what they've been doing is they started here at drop point 30 around Mud Spring. Some of you know it as the Five Corners. And they've been working to the west along the power line. They've reopened that entire power line clear out to and just south of Chaparral Mountain, if you're familiar with that mountain. They've turned off the power lines and came up to 51, which is right on Chaparral Mountain, connected some roads together over to 52, and now they're looking at finishing up some line and road prep down to Highway 299. That has been going pretty well. The fires kind of sat down the last couple of days because of the wind shift we had 2 days ago, but they went ahead and put some retardant from drop point 52 down to Highway 299 to help reinforce those lines. We hope to see in the next couple of days a good containment on that side as the firefighters that we've ordered come in and get staffed up in Division Alpha. Division Echo is pretty much from Burnt Ranch clear down the Highway 299 corridor to Big Bar, Big Flat, and they've been doing all the structure protection, the mop up, the defense of the structures, such as along Don Juan, Big Mountain Road, French Creek, Big Bar, Big Flat, Lower Waldorf, quite a few single and multiple structures along that corridor, and they've done a really well job, and we're fairly successful in a lot of those communities. Jumping up to Division Gulf, which is pretty much the north side, the fires come out of the Highway 299 or the Trinity River corridor, went north, hit the top of Ironsides, and pretty much hit the old river fire, if you're familiar with that fire a couple years ago, and it's kind of stalled out in that river fire. There is a little bit of movement in some of the snag patches, but for the most part, that movement towards Denny, Five Waters, and all those other communities to the north is kind of stalled out, and we're pretty happy to see that. They are also looking at the old fire line that came off of Ironsides down to Five Waters or the New River, and the feasibility of reopening that and what resources they have, and if we can allocate those resources here fairly quickly. But they're up there scouting those. We went ahead and wrapped Ironsides Lookout and put some retardant around it to protect that. At the time we did that, there was quite a bit of fire activity, and we didn't know if we'd be able to get in there and again or even be able to get in there. So we went ahead and took care of that. Coming on across the north side, which goes into Manzanita Ridge, it's French Creek, Lower Waldorf, Tree Lore, and then on over into the North Fork. This fire's kind of set up in mid-slope and a lot of those drainages, and we expect to see quite a bit of movement here in the next few days as the air clears and the RHs drop out to the north, out into the wilderness. So that is something we expect. If it doesn't move real fast, we do expect it to continue moving to the north for the foreseeable future. We aren't going to be able to get anybody in there, and we're not going to allocate resources into that area when we have other communities at risk currently. I'll come on around to the North Fork of the Trinity, which is where the fires kind of sat up and stalled out as of about an hour ago. This whole Trinity River corridor on the north side of the Highway 299 was very active last night, and it spotted across the river over into Eagle Creek. When that happened, it happened right about 6 o'clock last night, 5 o'clock. That spot grew very rapidly and started moving towards Red Hill Road, Connor Creek, and the lines that we'd put in along the ridge up there. It did spot into Red Hill last night, about a half an acre. We picked that up, and we have a lot of folks in there right now working around and amongst the structures, laying hose, prepping roads, prepping old dozer lines. And sometimes you hear the word receive. They're actually being proactive in there, and they're trying to make the whole area up in there defensible and keep the fire from actually going any further into Junction City. We'll see this evening as the wind comes up and things kind of clear out how much more this moves in here, but we're going to see how successful that whole operation is. Coming on around, the plan is to connect into the old Helena fire lines, which is up on the Hayfork Divide, open those old lines and utilize the road system all the way back around to Hayfork Ball and connect it back into where you see black right there. That black has been pretty good here for the last couple days. It comes off of Mud Springs, heads to the south down to Haypress Meadows. They have a little bit more work to do in there to kind of bring it on around. The only issue they have right now is a little bit of spot over Hayfork Divide, and they're hopefully we got some crews in today. Hopefully they'll be able to take a look at that and figure out how to get that wrangled up down there. Additionally, the Six Rivers, a lot of their initial attack stuff is coming over to help us in the Burnt Ranch area, and the state, CAL FIRE, is helping us over on the Junction City side, opening up some old fuel breaks and prepping some of the ridges out in here in case this thing spots. This fire's been spotting 1 to 2 miles. Even when we have firefighters right on the line battling it, it's spotting way past them. They have to disengage to go get a spot, and by the time they get over there, that spot's rather large. So this fire is moving and growing rapidly. We have a base camp over here in Weaverville supporting the troops, and we are currently setting one up in Willow Creek, so you should see quite a few operations, folks, along the highway corridor between 299 and Willow Creek, additionally up in the forest roads. So that's the update as of about a half hour ago, and I'll answer some questions here at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Alec. Zach?
Good evening, Zach Tolby, incident meteorologist. Over the last few days, we've seen a trough move through near the fire area through Northern California earlier this week, which really brought up the winds. Today, we saw another trough move through the Pacific Northwest, a little bit further north, and that helped clear out the air pretty good today. That allowed us for a little bit better heating and a little bit drier air to move into the region. We have been seeing gusty upslope winds each afternoon, of course, through the river canyon. The last few days, those have been really delayed by the smoke. Today, we saw earlier clearing, so those gusty winds started a little bit earlier in the afternoon. Temperatures got up into the mid-90s today with single-digit humidities. Tomorrow, we're expecting continued increase in temperatures. Temperatures will reach 95 to 100 degrees around the fire area, with humidities continuing to drop into the single digits. One thing that's going to change, we do have a large-scale ridge building into the region, and along that ridge, when that ridge builds in, we're going to get a small low pressure off the coast, which is going to help move the upper-level winds around. So tomorrow we're going to see a little bit of a change in the wind direction at the upper levels. We're going to see wind come out of the southeast for a while tomorrow and then switch back to the northwest, and this is going to help push smoke all the way around the fire area. Different than we've seen the last couple days where we had pretty good clearing in the afternoon. We'll still see some upslope winds the next few days, but those will be probably hampered by some of that smoke. The increase in smoke slows down the heating and the upslope winds. Further into next week, we're going to continue to see that very hot and dry pattern throughout the week, with temperatures well into the triple digits and humidities in the single digits and into the teens. By the end of the week, we could start to see some chances for thunderstorms in the late week, so that's something we're going to really keep an eye on. Thank you.
Good evening, Jeff Shelton, Team 5 Fire Behavior. So my job with the team is to provide what they call decision support. And so I use a suite of tools and experience for being out there and fighting fire to marry those two together to identify two main things for the team. I look for threats and I look for opportunities, and there's both that we have on this fire from a fire behavior standpoint. This fire remains a fuels-driven fire, but it's ventilation dependent. The fuels, that stored energy on the landscape, gets removed by previous fires, it grows back, and we identify where the line is the most vulnerable, where communities are most vulnerable. This ventilation dependency that I'm talking about is that air that moves through the 299 corridor. We say that air goes where water flows. So anywhere that you see a large scale, a creek, a river, or any kind of draw where things are draining out, that's where the path of least resistance is. And fire will follow the path of least resistance. What we've seen on this fire is the fire doing exactly that. It will make these short, intense runs, exploiting topography, running upslope with the topography, and it'll cause these kind of fingers to grow on the fire. And then once the fire dampens down under the effect of maybe the smoke kind of puts a lid on that, then those fingers will fill in the following burn periods. So what you're seeing now is a fire that used to be kind of splayed out with fingers is now has a more well-defined perimeter. And that's the way that I expect the fire to continue to grow. It's growing from west to east, and it's following that river corridor as this entire canyon kind of breathes on a daily basis. Now, it's not getting as much of that upslope and downslope ventilation as we had in the past and that you typically have on a daily basis, because we've had this lid of smoke over the fire. And it's no different than if you close the damper on your fireplace or your wood-burning stove and nothing really, the intensity doesn't really jump up. But as soon as you open that damper and that air can come in, you get increased intensities. Well, that smoke is locking that ability of the air to move. So most of the movement has been to the east because we haven't had a way to kind of flush that smoke out in a meaningful way. The fire has moved rather predictably in a certain pattern of number of miles a day, about a mile a day to 2 miles a day, depending on the weather conditions. But one of the things I'm also noticing is the fire is going from a wider fire to more narrow and following the canyon bottom right there. And I expect that to happen. Now, we are in the peak of fire season right now. We still have months to go. The thing that we're seeing on the fuels is that the fuels are at a state due to the last winter you had that we would normally see at the end of September and into October. And so the dryness there is combined with the hot August weather that you typically have here, and everything is available. We talk about available fuels. Between the grass and the timber, everything is available to carry fire. There's nothing that is impeding the movement of this fire, and it makes it very hard to control. We call it resistance to control. So the threats that I currently see from a fire behavior perspective are what you're worried about and understand, is the communities that are within that corridor. I'm also looking at the threats that the fact that the fire is positioned on the north side and on the south side fairly mid-slope to the higher terrain. There's higher terrain below, and there's much higher terrain in the wilderness here. If we get airflow that aligns with these drainages, that fire will want to splay out again in those fingers and then fill in. But currently, it's following the path of least resistance up and down that corridor. Now, I'm also seeing opportunities. And so the opportunities are where when the fire is doing what it wants on its terms, which it's been doing, but now with the ability of us as a team to put some forces to bear, you're seeing black on the map. When the fire wants to go this way, we lock it down in the back. When at night, when the fire calms down and the wind starts to pull into the center and drain down, that's a perfect opportunity for firing operations, where we can engage the fire from a fire behavior standpoint on our terms, that it's going to be both safe and efficient to get that line and add black line in there. So as much as we're looking at the threats to the communities, we're also actively engaged in looking at opportunities to stop this. So if you have any questions, please get them onto the moderator, and I'll be happy to answer them afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, good evening. My name is Ali Kamal. I am an air resource advisor here on the Shasta-Trinity National Forest. And if you haven't worked with air resource advisors before, we work closely with the incident meteorologists and fire behavioralists, trying to put out the best smoke outlook possible during the fire. Right now, we're seeing a lot of smoke from the Monument Fire, but also neighboring fires as well. So the whole area in the last few days, as you probably could tell, has been inundated with smoke. We did see that potentially this evening we're going to see some lifting of that smoke with the westerly winds, and we are starting to see that in the North Sacramento Valley and also in the higher elevations as well. This has been really improving air quality. We use the air quality index, so we've been seeing areas that have been in unhealthy to very unhealthy, as well as hazardous up near Weaverville for quite some time. Unfortunately, though, what we're seeing is that over the next few days that the smoke may likely return, and we want to just let everyone know that that with this high pressure system too, it could be capped in there for quite some time. So it's going to be laying in the valleys, probably North Sacramento Valley again, some of the mountain communities and the higher elevations. So if you do have some cardiovascular problems, respiratory problems, please be aware of the smoke outlooks that we put out. And you can view the smoke outlooks we post it online on NCWeb, and you can also look at the California Smoke blog as well. Again, that's put out daily, and my contact information is on there as well if you have any further questions. So please be safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tara Jones. I am the Trinity River Management Unit District Ranger. I want to start off by letting you know, when we found out about the fire, we had folks in Idaho, we had people in Montana, and engines kind of all over the North State. And when we found out that that the fire had started in our local communities, those guys, everyone got on the phone and made the call and said, "Hey, get us back so we can defend our communities and be there for the folks that we serve each and every day." So I want you to know that your local engines at Big Bar and at Burnt Ranch are out there, and we've staffed the Junction City engine, and they're out there fighting the fire as well. So I wanted you to know that first of all. What should we be doing right now? Well, we should be getting ready for the fair. We should be getting ready to take our kids to school. We should be doing school clothes shopping. We should be anticipating our first Friday night football game, right, under the lights. But here we are doing fire yet again. It seems like the August fire just ended. And I'll tell you, all of our firefighters feel the same way. It was a long year last year, and we're dialed into another long year this year. So I want to say thank you, because I've watched these communities. I've watched you guys come together. I've watched you support each other. I've watched you support our firefighters. I've watched our local businesses make lunches and in the wee hours of the morning to support the troops. And gosh, we couldn't do any of this stuff without the support that you give us each and every day. I want you to know I know how important the National Forest is to you. That's where you hunt. That's where you fish. That's where you go get firewood. I know there's probably no place else for sure in the state of California where people are so tied to their national forest. And I want you to know I know that. The Shasta-Trinity National Forest knows that. And our fire staff that works for you locally, we know that. I want you to know that our local fire staff is plugged in. They're at the table. They're part of these discussions. A lot of the people you've seen come up here today have grown up in these same communities. I want you to know we want to hear from you. I want you to know we're proud, very proud and honored to serve you. I want you to also know we have some area closures and why we have area closures. we have area closures because these firefighters are out there doing the best they can to get a handle on these fires. And we've had some people, you guys know all the back roads, right? I know how that goes. So we need you to please don't be out in the fire area. Those closures are there for your safety, but they're also there so the firefighters can be as effective as possible. Again, I just want to leave you for now with the fact that it is a privilege to serve you, to work for you, and I want you to know that the door is open and my phone number is online. If you have any questions today, put them in the chat and we'll get them answered for you. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Tara.
Hi, good evening, folks. Dustin Mueller, California Interagency Incident Management Team 5 Incident Commander. So I first want to thank our presenters this evening and everybody that's participating out there online. And then also thank you for the community for all your support, and really the firefighters and the law enforcement officers on the ground doing a lot of the hard work for the community and for us. You know, there's a lot of things going on in the western United States. I stated this the other day at the public meeting as well. Roughly 24,000 firefighters remain committed nationwide. We have firefighters coming in from other countries. We have support coming in from other countries, air support as well. We're trying to get resources to the right place where the priorities are nationwide. So the national multi-area coordination system is working. They are setting those priorities. Strategy on this fire, the Monument fire remains the same as when we took command, and that is a full suppression, aggressive full suppression fire, with our priorities being human life and protecting your property and the infrastructure around it. Current evacuations, I'm not going to go too much into those. I think you guys are monitoring the Trinity County Sheriff website on that, but currently there's roughly 1,850 people evacuated and affected by this fire currently. Let's see some other numbers that you guys probably would like to know. Do want to confirm some structure loss. We finally got our damage assessment teams out there. So there is 10 residents confirmed total loss. 1 commercial non-residence structure and property lost, and then 15 outbuildings. So that's a pretty good, even though we don't like to see any lost structures, but that if compared to all the structures in the corridor, we are doing what we can with the resources we do have on scene. I don't have any more for you as far as a thing. I am going to roll into questions that you guys have sent in earlier. And the first question comes, why won't the USDA Forest Service work in coordination with CAL FIRE? And we have been in close coordination with CAL FIRE. So in California, we are an interagency group. What we do now is I've been in close coordination yesterday and the days prior with Chief Govea, who's the Shasta-Trinity unit, and Shasta County Fire Chief. We're discussing strategies. They as well are as busy as the Forest Service is. And as the fire grows closer to Junction City, we are looking at, like Operations Chief Alex stated, we are using some of their resources, what they have available, what they could get available off of other fires, and we are opening up some old lines around Junction City. So we are in close coordination with them, and we should be meeting later this afternoon, or evening, sorry. So the next question is, when does the fire move into the state responsibility area and out of Forest Service jurisdiction? What kind of coordination is being done with CAL FIRE and prep for that? CAL FIRE is not listed as a partner, incident cooperator, so that is not clear. They're not listed on the 209. I'm unsure why they're not. I haven't looked at that. I will check into that. But they are a partner on this incident with us. We do have quite a few. Actually, they fed us the other night out of Trinity River Camp, which is great appreciation as well for our firefighters. We were having trouble getting food out to our firefighters. And then also, like I stated, they did engage with roughly 6 bulldozers, a strike team, and 2 to 3 hand crews on a ridge line outside of north of Junction City. So they are a cooperator with us, and they always are there for us. Next question is, when will we receive more support? I think I addressed that question as well the other day. We have our numbers have raised up to the 500-600 number. Like I said, 24,000 people or resources, firefighters committed nationwide. So that's a lot of people. The Dixie Fire is roughly 5,000 to 6,000 personnel on scene. We're starting to get more resources on scene. Nathan the PIO adjusted our resource count as well. We did get 2 hotshot crews in. Finally, they got their rest and recovery time off, so we are starting to get resources trickle in. The chief ops chief Alex Macbeth did put in a sizable resource request as well for what we're planning on outlying contingencies in other communities to protect out in the future. So we are looking at hopefully getting some of those as we gain national spectrum and priority and higher priority. The next question is, I already addressed somewhat of the structure loss, but has any structures been destroyed in Helena or Junction City? And to this point, we're not aware of any right now, as of this moment. So that should end my question and answer, and hopefully there's more in the chat, and I'd be happy to address them if needed. Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. We have one question for weather, so I'll bring weather up, and then we'll go and roll into our operations, who has a lot of questions for you. But again, he's got to get back, and we're going to make sure that we can update our operations staff that's out in the field. That's up next for our folks. So, Zach.
The question was, what are the wind projections for the coming days? So we're expecting the high pressure to build over the region. So we're not expecting any strong wind impacts because we get that real big high pressure dome building over us. But as that high pressure dome builds over the whole West Coast up into the Pacific Northwest, over the whole Western US, there's going to be a small low pressure that forms off the coast. And what that's going to do is it's going to change the wind directions on us throughout the week. So like I said, tomorrow we're going to start to see some southeast winds, and then those are going to move back around to the northwest. And we're expecting a similar pattern with day-to-day changes in the wind direction, but nothing terribly strong. So no real strong winds, and then at the upper levels, and then of course in the canyon we'll expect those up canyon winds and up canyon winds during the day and down canyon winds at night. But that also is partially dependent on how much smoke we have. So the more smoke we have, the less wind we'll get, and the later in the day it will be.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate that. Up next, I'm going to bring Alex back up with some operational questions, and then we'll go back to Tara with the forest.
All right, thanks everybody. So I got a few questions here. The first question, any chance you can use air ops? So we did get to use air operations, mainly fixed wing today, and one rotorcraft over on the west side, over by Burt Ranch and Chaparral Mountain. So we got to use them a little bit today. The last few days we haven't been able to due to just the smoke. They can't lift off of Weaverville and the smoke we've had. So we got a couple. I think one moved over to Willow Creek today. We're looking at moving another one over there tomorrow so that we can keep them out of the smoke and utilize that air operations. Are there plans in place if the lines that are getting put in right now don't hold the fire from advancing towards Hayfork and Bali? So currently the plans we have is direct perimeter control. As we get more resources to be able to implement right on the line, that's usually our primary. 1 foot in the black, that's the safest for our firefighters. Our second plan is pretty much the Hayfork Divide, which is held previously a couple times, has old fire scars on it, and should be fairly easy to open up. And that'll wrap on around into Crowell Bottoms, into the power line over there. So we do have a primary, a secondary, and then of course what's been hampering us right now is a lack of resources, and we've had to pull some of those most of those perimeter control resources every day out for these large spots that we've been getting around communities. So it's hampered our ability to put in perimeter control, but we're still plugging away on it. All right. What is being done to slow or stop the westward progression of the Monument Fire? So I kind of went over it earlier. They do have lines established from the south side, drop point 52 Chaparral Mountain. They're working north towards 299. We put in some retardant to reinforce those lines. Additionally, in case those lines aren't successful, because if you've seen what the fire's been doing all across the country, there is a chance of that. We have been in and amongst the communities, making sure that we prep those communities for the case of a spot fire that gets 2 miles or 3 miles over us. So we are trying to slow the progress, and we have a plan to implement. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to whoever's next. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Alex. And again, so if we didn't get to your questions, we will get to those in the chat after the meeting itself. Last up, we're going to have Tara come up and speak from the forest side.
Hello. I have a couple of questions. The first one I got asked was, when are you bringing back logging to help reduce fuels? That's an excellent question. So instead of just addressing logging, I would say that in many places we have just too many trees on the landscape. And when we manage the forest responsibly, we tend to get timber as a byproduct. And when we open up the stands and we treat them, we tend to get, it improves it for wildlife, it makes it better for a number of resources. And the key is, though, responsible forest management. So I'm working on that, and I want to tell you, to be successful, I need to hear from you. So one of the things I had planned, as soon as I accepted the job as a Trinity River Management Unit Ranger, was I want to do some open houses on the west side, and I want to get us all in a room where we can talk about what it means to have a healthy forest, what that's going to look like, and I want to hear what you think. I agree there are too many trees choking each other out, competing for the same light and water, and you end up with a stand that's weak because it can't fight off disease and insects and fire, as we've seen. So there are a lot of good benefits to managing a forest and having a responsible management leading to a healthy forest. Okay, the next question I got asked is, why doesn't USDA mandate county supervisors to create and post emergency and shelter-in-place plans for rural communities with limited ingress-egress? So that's a big question. So first of all, the federal government, USDA, does not dictate to the county board of supervisors. But what we can do is work together. And we can work together a little bit better. We work together in a lot of ways now. We work with fire safe councils. We work with the RCD, Trinity County RCD. We work with the RAC, Resource Advisory Council. There's a lot of things that are going on in Trinity County, and it's important that you try to become a part of that so that you can both know what's going on and have your voice be heard in what we're doing. I've enjoyed working with the Board of Supervisors in Trinity County. They too want to see a healthy forest, and I think it's going to be key that we all work together with the Sheriff's Department, with the fire departments, and federal land, state lands, and come up with a plan that leaves our community safe. That's the number one objective, is that all of you are safer, the forest is healthy, and that you're exactly right. In an emergency, we can get in and out of town. We know the roads are windy, and we know there's some work we need to do. So that is also on my agenda to work with county representatives and state representatives to improve the egress and ingress into the communities downriver, as well as Weaverville. So thank you all so much.
Great. Thank you, Tara. So that's going to conclude our briefing for this evening. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, if you have some questions inside the chat or your question didn't get answered, we will address those within the chat and on Twitter. Again, thank you. Appreciate everybody. We will talk to you soon. We are looking at doing some in-person meetings. Once we get those set up, we will let you know when that is through our updates. Please visit NCWeb for information. You have our call-in line if you want to call in. Thank you again. We'll see you soon.